Loktarg, our friends. Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it is time for another Orc Mode workout, and today was Dynamic Effort Bench Press Day. But a quick reminder for those of you who watch these videos, please remember to click like down below. It would be greatly appreciated. Now, I went a little lighter on the weight than I normally would program for the speed bench, mainly because I need to get used to speed benching again, and because I ran pretty heavy band tension here. Even this 137 bar weight, because of the 80 pounds of bands, and by the way, those bands are kicking in at the bottom, so when people think it's 80 pounds of bands, that doesn't mean the lockout. This band setup is probably, I don't know, 10 pounds at the bottom, and it's hitting 80 pounds by the halfway point. So we're dealing with the bands and doing speed work, and quite frankly, this absolutely crushed my chest and interior delts. They were lit up. Now, for people who are curious what the breaks are like on this, this is all done in 10 minutes. So basically all 10 of these sets were done within 10 minutes. They're a minute apart, but when I say a minute apart, I mean the actual reps. So I think all of it total, if I were to have set a timer, roughly about 10 minutes to do all these sets. Now, I didn't do the traditional wide, medium, close. Why? I need to work on wider benching. I don't care about close grip benching at the moment. I did years of focusing on nothing but close grip. I have to get stronger with my chest, and that's been the big goal with my pressing even before I did the dynamic work again. So I chose to do 5 sets of pinkies on the rings, so which is kind of wide. That's standard grip. And then I did 5 sets following that with medium grip, right? Not with close grip. And I'm happy with this. I mean, the speed's decent. I feel like I picked an appropriate weight because I did a little bit of ramping and messing with it first to see how it all felt, and I realized, I better just go with a plate. So if people wonder where that other weight comes from, well, that's not 135. My spacers that I use are 2.5 pounds that I use to hook the bands up to. So again, I think for me, because I've noticed with speed bench in the past, I got the best results, in particular even when I was working on close grip and it hit its best when I was doing speed work, was what? Well, doing really heavy band tension. So we're going to return to some of that, right? So we're running back into more traditional type conjugate training here. And tomorrow is going to be a speed lower day. However, it is going to be a little more deadlift focused, right? I'm going to put more effort into my deadlifting, because squatting is fine. I'm not going to have any problems with what I'm doing. Getting to really great squat numbers, I need to work on deadlifting. We'll cover that tomorrow. But these went really good. Ridiculous pump. Felt a lot of not just pump, but tension and almost that tearing that happens with this in my chest. So that's one of the things with band work that people need to be aware of. When you work against serious band weights, it actually causes a lot of micro tearing. It is eccentric overload. You know, you'll hear bodybuilders talk about, oh, eccentric loading, but then they don't ever actually do it. They don't do anything that's actually an eccentric that causes muscle fiber damage. They just do them slow. No, this is eccentric overloading. You get an overspeed eccentric out of this. So you're trying to do it fast and then reverse it off the chest and be as explosive as possible. And I tried to be as aggressive and explosive as possible. Was it perfect? No. Decent, but we need to work on it. First time back doing it again, I will work on it. We will get more explosive. We need those concentric reps to pop harder. And some of my clients are going to look at this who struggle with speed work and be like, oh, it's faster than mine. Like, yeah, but that's because you're slow at speed work, guys. Some of my other lifters are not. So we need to get it faster. We need to get it faster. And that's going to happen with practice. But really happy with it. I felt a lot of stimulation. Again, because I went with mostly, wideish grip, a lot of pec. And then I went out a little bit wider for my floor presses today, which really smashed that area. So because of all of that, though, we're putting more focus on triceps for supplemental work. Pull-ups, I went up to a 25. I tried to do all these and get the full range of motion at the bottom. And as you guys notice, again, people will say, or is that full range? It's like my elbows do not do what, again, you think they should do. All right. I'm trying to basically get to the bottom where my scapula come apart. If my scapula spread back apart at the bottom and my shoulders are rolling up at the bottom, that's my range of motion. So I'm working on that a little more. And some people point out you don't touch your chest to the bar. Oh, I can't. Even when I was doing 100 chin-ups every day, 7 days a week, right? When I ran that experiment, I cannot touch my chest to the bar. Physically cannot do it. People say, well, how do you go lighter? When I've done assisted bands in the past, I can't get my chest at the bar. I'm just not built that way. I can't do it on an inverted row either. So what do? We're doing the range of motion of what our lats will do and what our scapula will do. So I'm going to work more and more on the bottom range of motion and just being careful of my shoulder health, because again, I've been doing the dead hangs because of the impingement, which seems largely cured. You know, I get a little bit of inflammation here and again, but certain movements seem to cause it. Actually, I noticed I took overhead pressing out today because I've noticed the overhead pressing I feel a little bit, and then that area gets irritated the next day or that night usually after I've been overhead pressing. So I'm going to take those back out for a while. I don't have to have overhead pressing. It's not essential for me. I can do tons of chest pressing. I can do floor pressing. I can do various bench things. I can do whatever. I can do dips if I need to. Not necessary for me to build my pecs and shoulders to overhead press. So we'll keep working with that weight. I think on the pull-ups for now, that's the most weight I can really handle. I want to get a little better, higher quality reps with that weight and then move up. Floor press, I decided to go with a little higher reps than last time. I dropped down to 225. I was only able to get sets of 8, you know, which is not phenomenal, but we'll build the floor press back up. The stimulation felt great though. Again, my chest actually hurt after every set, and so did my front delts. And usually my first set feels uncomfortable in the shoulders no matter what on a floor press, and the second and the third feel fine. It's exactly what happened for me today. So with just the 225, we got 3 sets of 8, and we'll work on that. I'll stick on dynamic days. I'll go lighter like this and try to build up with 225. I need to get it to 10 reps for 3 sets, and then I'll add weight. And I'm going to go heavier for 5s on max effort day. But floor pressing, because of where I missed that bench on that fatigue day the other day, look at where that floor press comes down to. 1 to 2 inches above my chest, right? I could get it to touch my chest if I went wider, probably. But where did I miss that bench? About 4 inches off the chest. So this is teaching me to stay tight and to come from, again, explode back through that point, just like the speed bench will. This builds the pecs. Because when you look at where I missed that bench, certain parts of the tricep, the pecs, the lats, that's what I need to focus on. When I say certain parts of the tricep, I mean the medial head. The medial head gets stretched really hard at the bottom of a bench. It does contribute to the bottom of the bench for the unaware. So I need to hammer my triceps really, really hard, as I used to do, but this time I'm not going to worry about my big presses for it. I'm going to keep everything wider, build my chest, build my front delts. Okay? But I need that chest, tons of chest, and work it with these wider grips in general. And that's all I'm going to do for pressing. Then I'll just do other movements to hammer the triceps. And I can always do some of these with chains and stuff. Of course, the band work helps on the speed work. And you guys will notice with everything, we're going to do 2 angles on everything. So we went with a different movement. We went with the floor press, just like I'll do pause bench again on next max day for reps, and then I'll do floor press. So this we did pull-ups, and then we did rows. Now this time people would be like, oh, these aren't cheating now, these are strict. Yeah, because I went back to 10s. There is no weight that I can handle that's challenging at 5 or 6 reps that are going to look pretty. But I did 250, so I dropped it way down from 300 down to 250, and I did 3 sets of 10. A little bit of cheating on the last rep or 2 because the form is breaking down because I'm getting to failure. 3 sets of 10, and I'll work this back up, right? Because I know for this before, when I was doing the higher reps with these, I got to where I did like 13 with this on a final set. So I did 11 on the final set this time. I also have been cutting, so that's a good thing that we're at this point with it. So again, I'll stick with like 5s for the pull-ups. We'll do 10s for the rows. Gives me 2 different rep ranges, a vertical pull, a horizontal pull for my lats. My lats are going to get a lot of work on the speed pulls though, so keep that in mind. I'm going to be doing a lot of deadlifting, and I'm going to be ramping that volume up, and it's going to be against bands and chains, so we're going to get a lot of back work on those days also. I can be fairly conservative. We can do 6 sets for lats, 6 sets for lats, biceps, and all that on these upper body days twice a week. It gives me 12 sets a week. Good quality work. Pretty much limit sets, very close to. That's enough because I'm going to get more lat work on those others. Plus the face pulls hit biceps, right? Face pulls hit biceps. But the pull-ups hammer my biceps really, really hard. Like they hurt. Biceps and triceps both hurt after every set for me. Then we did JM presses because, again, where did I miss that bench? Down near the bottom. The JM press stretches the tricep. at that point, and then I do band press downs near the end to kind of work the tricep again from a different angle, different strength curve. So basically every muscle we're trying to hit a couple different angles with. Now, some people, I always have them chime in, even when I'm doing them stricter like this and not letting my elbows come down as much, or like, this is just a closed grip bench too. No, it's not. The bar is above my nose. Okay? When that bar is coming down, I can see it over my eyes. The bar is coming down to my eye level, so it's actually technically right about my nose. It's not a closed grip bench partial. The bar is over my face. Just not quite like a skull crusher. And I'm having to keep the weight light to even do it that way, because when I used to do them above my neck and my elbows come even lower, you know, I've done really heavy weight. But again, it feels harder on my shoulders. I don't feel any more tricep doing that. This hits my tricep really hard. I notice that medial head lights up. It gets stretched really hard. It's still a multi-joint movement. Works great. And again, this is the most controversial lift out there, you know, because no one but J.M. Blakely does it the way J.M. teaches. And yet plenty of other serious world record holders do it different ways. Some of them do it with way lower elbows than I do, who are world record holders, right? So, you know, who's right? I don't know. I think we should try to keep the elbows up a bit. That's what I'm trying to do, the best I can. And if I go heavier, they get lower. So I'm just going to stick with this weight, get better with this weight, and then work it up as I'm able based on the form. But at least I'm hitting the triceps hard. I feel my triceps. I feel the part of my tricep that I know contributes to the lower part of the bench. And that's what matters, because then we'll work on lockout work with the speed bench, the band work, stuff like that. Okay, but right now I don't want to do the most tricep dominant pressing in general, because I really need my pecs. I need my pecs bigger. So we can do this supplemental work at the end. Then I did 2 movements for delts, because again, the overhead press is not there. And my shoulders actually today, since I didn't do overhead press, they feel really good. I don't feel any irritation at all in that right shoulder. So we're good. And it's, again, I don't go super high with these because it's not necessary. And I just do these to failure. And I'm taking pretty short breaks, so yes, I'm losing reps on every set. I think it's like something like 17, then like 14, and then 13 or something. So I'm hitting failure with the only pair of dumbbells I have, by the way, so I don't have options here, because I can stick magnets to them. I just don't care about dumbbells enough to invest in the floor space of the money on them. My gym investment is excessive already. You know, and I do have space limitations to a certain degree here. So this pair of dumbbells works fine. I'll do laterals. I can just do them to failure. It's a small fluff movement. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So what, eventually if I get to over 20 reps, still failure for that one smaller head of the delt. Of course, this really works the whole delt. It's more focus on the side head, upper trap. And again, just trying to make sure my shoulders get enough stimulation. My delts could stand to grow. Again, if we're going to talk about bench and bench stability, you don't want lagging shoulders. Now, people would argue, oh man, you're cutting right now and you're working on delts. It's bodybuilder stuff. No, it's not bodybuilder stuff. Bodybuilding is standing on a stage in your panties after you're emaciated, covered in oil and fake tan in front of a bunch of other dudes. I'm not doing that. So let's not call it what it's not. It's still powerlifting. I'm bringing up a weak muscle. You know, there's actually the biggest muscle in the upper body. So we need to hit it from a couple different angles just to make sure it grows. So 3 sets to failure with this, and then I alternated face pulls. I didn't quite get the face pulls to failure. I'm getting a feel for doing them again. First set didn't get as many reps because I did some pauses at the start, but I took pretty much the tricep press downs to failure. And these are all 20 plus reps, everything here. So we did some face pulls. And notice the grip I'm using. Some people will say, well, I don't feel it in the side head of my delt at all, only the rear. Well, how are you gripping it? And this first set didn't feel as correct, and I didn't like it. So I had to adjust it a little more as I went. Again, I've got to get back in practice at doing these. And it's hard for me to get my elbows up high. So for those curious, again, it's just having gone through that impingement issue that I've had to rehab and everything. Getting my shoulder, particularly that right shoulder, to the mobility where I really want is going to take a lot of work. Okay, so I work with what I have. Work with what I have. But we are working all the muscles, and that's what we need to do. We're working them through the range of motions that I do have. And over time, that range of motion can increase as far as getting them higher and doing other stuff by just working the edges of it. The press downs, again, pretty much to failure. These were all in the maybe the 20 to 30 rep range, depending upon which set I got to. And some of them, like the last set, I had to do a little rest pausing to get a couple more reps each time. And you guys can tell when it's getting challenging because of the form changes. But what's the point of this? Well, doing all this extra band work, it'll help with connective tissue, the higher rep stuff. It'll help tendons in my elbows. The face pulls will help even with tendons in my biceps and stuff, right? Because the biceps is important. It's used in this. So this is even a bicep exercise, whether people understand that or not. Because again, we're taking the lats and everything out, and we're going back to just the upper back rear delts. Still some bicep and everything involvement. Biceps will even get a pump on this, although it's mostly shoulder. So again, I'm not going to worry about the biceps. So people will notice I do some smaller movements, but what do we hit? We hit delts and we hit triceps, because those are important muscles for lifting. My biceps will get enough stimulation from the pull-ups and stuff. I'll never have great biceps. I don't have the genetics for it. I've torn a bicep. I don't care about it. It doesn't matter. They're not that important. As long as they grow some, it'll give me some bench press stability. We can do certain things like that, and a lot of this pulling that we do will help with bicep tears, right? Doing a lot of lat work and pulling will help prevent bicep tears. Actually, it will strengthen the bicep connective tissue. All these multi-joint movements, and it'll make them grow. They're not a priority. Triceps are a priority. Delts are going to be a priority. Triceps are probably a bigger one. Need them for benching. But overall, very happy with the dynamic day today. First time, I think it's been, how many months has it been? 6 months since I dropped dynamic and went to just 4 max effort days. I think it'll do me some good. It felt good. I think it'll help a lot. I think it'll help particularly with novel training response while I'm cutting, so that we might see some muscle growth, some muscle memory from some of it, right? It'll give me a new performance element. I think it'll help bring up my weak links. It'll get my lifts back up, right? Keep making progress. We focus on making progress even when we cut, within our ability to do so. And then that final set of band press downs, and like I said, pretty happy with the way the workout went today. You know, I would have liked been a little bit stronger on the floor presses. I would have liked the speed bench a hair faster, but we have room for improvement. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.